Can you be more offended than the person that is supposed to be offended? Some people think that about the U.S. Army right now and think this is the most nothing story that you could make into something. Let's talk about how the U.S. Army Special Forces Command over at Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fort Bragg, Vietnam, where I actually joined out of, is trying to cancel a public affairs captain that posted a tweet.
We just wanted to provide some context for the tweet that I put out last night and apologize to anyone that offended. It certainly wasn't meant to be the way that is being portrayed right now. I had a tweet earlier in the day about my friend and I going to my daughter's cheerleading event, and almost all the comments were about my friend's appearance instead of just commenting about the actual tweet itself. So when we were reading the comments last night, and after she was getting added by a bunch of people on Instagram and tagged in a bunch of different things, we decided that instead of taking a jab at every single individual person who was doing that, we were going to put something out benign, and really it was a jab to correct them because they were all commenting about it, and she wanted to provide the factual stuff.
Correction. Yeah. I'm not big on social media, so to see that individuals took time out of their day to jab at my physical appearance, I mean, it's not only degrading and it hurts me, but at the same time, it's like if you're going to take the time out of your day to degrade me, then at least be factual with it. The size was incorrect, so I gave the right size. It did not bother me to send it back at him.
So again, we apologize for anyone that's offended. It was certainly not meant to be that way, and we took the tweet down, and I'll definitely do better on what I post from here on out.
So as you can see, the woman that was supposed to be offended by this is actually not offended. It looks like she was using this as her way to defend herself against people that were making these comments, and was like, how can I do it tactfully? Which I will say, let's read this tweet and see how outrageous this tweet is. Heading to a daughter's cheerleading with one of my best friends and fellow Iraq vet. She needs to get a Twitter. Sad face. Obviously, all the likes were because of me. G's, by the way. Obviously, we understand what he's referencing there and why people were so attracted to this photo and kind of her rebuttal to this. Now, official Army public affairs, which by the way, he is public affairs, the people that deal with all this stuff. So he's pretty well versed and trained in how to conduct himself on social media. But there is official guidance that has been released about this situation where they say this. Dixon made the comments from his personal account, but Army officials say that doesn't excuse any distasteful or potentially inappropriate language being used. An Army official familiar with the situation said on background. Also, the official said the investigation is likely evaluating whether Dixon violated Army command policy, social media guidance with his tweet. And I've read through this. I have to give some critical, I guess, advice to the U.S. Army when it comes to their public affairs. I would really advise you guys to look at the way the Navy does it with their social media handbook and policy. Really breaks it down. There's like 20 links. I'm being exaggeratory there. But how to read through this and to expect a service member to read through all those. He is a public affairs guy, so he has read through them and should know them. But I'm saying for the general guidelines for everybody else, you should simplify this a little bit more. For every instruction that you're looking at, there is something that is in your favor. There's also going to be another one or two at least against your favor. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here in the future, but let's get into this even more. Now, this Army Times article is looking at the Task and Purpose article, which happened only a few months ago, talking about the Special Forces commands, which showed that there was a bias between males and females. And it's like, okay, that's a shocker. When you have a male-dominated society, what would you expect? They're saying that they shouldn't have this gender bias, and they're looking to make it more diverse. I have to really give a reminder to a lot of people that as much as we are moving in that direction, you're talking about a community within the past 10 years repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It's talking about having the T word integrated into their units. There's a lot of fast changes, and to expect every person to whip into that all at once with a force that has over 1 million people in it at once is going to be very difficult, especially when you're talking about special forces communities, which are typically alpha male, type A personality. And I'm just going to give this kind of observation that I think you could go with is you may run into retention issues, or you may run into recruiting issues, as there are people that look at stories like this and may say, oh, that's how the special forces are. I may or may not agree with that, and I probably don't want to associate with that. So I wonder how in the long run this is going to maybe pendulum swing the other way. It's just something I'm observing and saying that this could be something in the future from a different perspective. This is not where this story ends for this captain and his tweet. The online misconduct, the use of electronic communications to inflict harm. Examples include, but are not limited to, harassment, bullying, hazing, stalking, discrimination, retaliation, or any other types of misconduct that undermine dignity and respect, which I said those all very weirdly because of YouTube censorship. I have to ask in this situation, though, was this veteran undermined in her wishes? That is one statement that we could look at from this perspective, but in the same document, there's another phrase which could go against this captive. The Army values apply to all aspects of our life, including online conduct. harassment, bullying, hazing, stalking, discrimination, retaliation, and other types of misconduct that undermines dignity and respect are not consistent with Army values and negatively impact command climate. So from this social media policy, you could ask, is this being an investigated issue because it could impact that climate at the command, as they have already seen issues with that gender bias that they're discussing. And it does look like the female in this video is Lindsey Carlson, which has talked about this over at the Army Times Facebook page and kind of given her thought process here, and it's kind of interesting. My freaking are famous. Thanks a lot. I do not need a man to protect me, so stop bullying and ruining someone's career who I've carried body bags with for this country. I have responded with my words. I have the right to respond to derogatory and absolutely crude remarks in any way I see fit to go along my day. My response and reaction is mine alone. To everyone saying he should have said something about else, I am a 35-year-old woman standing up for myself and making fun of men back, who clearly don't know how to treat women or what breast sizes are. I told him what I wanted to say. Use another instance to fuel your media agenda. I'm confused on this. Is she mad at the command and maybe her thinking that they're pushing for this gender issue that she's talking about? Or is she mad at Army Times for this because they're publishing it and kind of bringing attention to that? And obviously, what I'm trying to respect it here as well and present both sides of the story as best I can. But I will say I hope that Lindsey does get heard, because this is the person that this was directed to and kind of had the brunt of what is being experienced here. Now, people have gone to the Army Times Facebook page and have gone off in the comments and have kind of gone against the official command social media response and have said this. James Brennan writes, "This is crazy. If it was about a female soldier, I would understand, but about a friend makes no sense." And this brings a very interesting question here: is who is actually mad about this and reported this over to the command over in Fayetteville, North Carolina? Because I don't see anywhere in this article where it says who reported it or how it came about as to be such an issue. And it does look like there are other females that are coming to her defense and kind of talking about this as well. Aaron MN writes, "Who is offended by this? Crying face. I'm a woman and I don't see the issue here. It's a joke on a personal account. If she made a joke about his size, would anyone be upset? I don't think so. Let's quit with the foolishness. This is not an Army Times worthy story. Is there not something more important to cover?" Aaron, I do understand that you think this is foolishness, and I understand that you're not upset by this, and kind of coming at this is not offensive, especially from a female perspective. I would say kind of holds weight or validity, obviously, as there's two camps to this. I think, as we all are on social media, this is an important story as it governs the future of what service members are allowed to do and say their mind, and what does that barrier come at? Is it at the barrier of civilian clothes, not in military uniform? How do you degrade that line a little bit clearer, which I think that's why I was saying the Navy social media policy, I think, does a better job. He says, so a soldier makes a comment on his personal social media account that is seen by a select number of people. The Army makes a stink about it. The Army Times picks up the story and posts it on Facebook, along with a picture of her. Now millions of people, including myself, who's not even in the Army anymore, know about it. Brilliant. Way to handle things and not bring negative attention on yourself, Army. Not. To be fair, I want to let people know from a public relations perspective, the Army commands are definitely being more aggressive, I would say, as you've seen issues with the Vanessa Guillen situation. They are learning from mistakes that happened in the past, and they're trying to hop in front of them more so than letting them go by and maybe being burned later and essentially paying the price for not really bringing this to the forefront and being more aggressive about it. So the question is, do we fork this in the road and go left and kill it with fire, or right, try and, handle it the lowest possible level and maybe get burnt later on. To be fair, if you're a commanding officer of that command, you're probably going to say, I have a lot more to lose than this person does. I want to keep my job and my retirement, so I'm going to do what I need to for the safety and security of my position, my job, and the command, and what we represent. That is where we're at. How can we keep one-upping to be the most correct? And that's where you end up with stories like this. Is this too fast of a knee-jerk reaction? And if you want to be upset and have a better utilization of time, I'd say, why not just go over to TikTok? You got these girls dancing in uniform, doing the WAP dance, doing whatever else is out there. And I'm like, what's going on over there? We're not hearing any stories about that. Obviously, I don't want to totally deflect from the situation, but I want to say, like, if you're looking for injustices that are happening in the world, they're pretty easy to find. But my recommendation for the command and what I look at this situation, I'd say, good on you for deleting the tweet. Good on you for making the proper response back. Don't do it again. Be more thoughtful. I don't think there should be anything else that comes from this other than just, you made a stupid mistake. Let's see what you guys think down in the comments below as this culture is becoming more and more slippery slope. But as always, if you guys do like what we do over here on this channel, you can support us over at patreon.com to get some special perks and benefits. Also, on top of that, we have a YouTube membership link down below this video, also on the main page as well, where you get special perks and benefits here on YouTube. We appreciate it. If you have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.